Hello and welcome to this Mobalytics video. I'm your host Vakayu and we are once again back with the educational videos, and we're going to start off with a good solo carry champion guide. And that's because before we get into all the actual meaty grindy things that you need to know in order to climb this season, we have to know what tools we're going to use to accomplish that job. And so presented for you in this video, we shall be going over some of the best solo carry champions for each role, because some champions just have better numbers than others and we must abuse those in order to actually kick off our climb. Just like if you're sad, you eat raw cookie dough. If you want to climb, you need raw LP gains. So if you're looking forward to all the Mobalytics content coming your way, high quality, nice and fresh, good edits, pristine finish, I'm sure our editor is showing off what we're going to be doing in these videos, please do consider leaving a like and of course subscribing. Even leave a comment below how your climb is going in Season 11. And now without further hesitation, let's begin. Let's start with top lane because it's a long lane, there's a lot of minions, there's a lot of solo experience, and junglers kind of forget that it exists. It's the island no one's ever heard of. And in some matchups, I'm sure it feels like Shutter Island. However, Darius is king and he has a God King skin for that reason. He's straightforward, no insane mechanics. You've got the bleed passive, you've got healing. You win a lot of 1v1 simply by champ design gap, and you can be insanely tanky in teamfights if you hit multiple Qs because now you have turbo healing. That and you do an insane amount of damage with your passive and Conqueror synergy, and you can easily bush cheese with your W also. In the old days, you might think, hey, I can be bullied by ranged champions, but Ghost is a thing and Stridebreaker is a thing. And I still don't know why it is, but you get the ult reset, which is perfect for mopping up those fights your teams are taking, even though they shouldn't be taking them. But if you have 1v1 supremacy and you're winning so hard that you can split push, yeah, you can do that as well. And then you can move on down and flank, you can TP if you happen to have taken that rune, but you don't need it. And when your whole team complains, oh, we have no tank top lane, go Malphite, you can gently remind them and politely let them know that his E is naturally good versus tanks because you have an armor penetration passive. So, win 1v1, teamfight better than everyone else, last it like a boss, and you can also turn ganks into a 1v1 easily because Darius. Next up we have Urgot, and you might not realize this, but he feels like a ranged tank. His passive does ridiculous amounts of AoE max percentage damage, and of course you scale really well when that is actually a thing. His E gives that 15% bonus HP shield as well as a dash, and in case you forgot, his R is a flat 25% health execute that then feels everyone around him. So it's like a ranged Garen with a dash on his E. And did I mention Stridebreaker is a thing in the last one? Because it's still a thing here. You win a lot of top matchups because of that quote-unquote range. The Q slows, the W is an attack speed on a toggle at level 9, and really this simply makes you very tanky later on with a lot of damage. Like Darius, not really insane mechanically, free push, free poke. So all this means is you have great itemization, great damage, and you know those raid boss thumbnails that everyone's using all the time? He actually reaches that level, and so you can 1v9 S+ tier. Why play with 2 legs when you can play with 6? Wait, is that how many legs he has? I never remember. Next up, I thought, do we have Nasus? Do we have Aurelia? Now, Aurelia isn't actually performing so well, but if you have mechanics, definitely good to go. And while Nasus can be one of those excellent sort of chill, farm, stack, split, open the gates, and if they don't want to open the gates, you just one-shot the ADC and you say I wasn't asking, there's a fidget spinner moving around at quite a lot of speed, and again using Stridebreaker in Garen. Ridiculously easy kit, insane damage, Berserker Greaves on Bruiser Champs because W is just that powerful. Can't really trade against him, and we could go ahead and list all the extra little stats and I could read it out to you, maybe we'll show it on the screen. But his kit is just so simple to execute and has everything you really need to deal with whatever might come your way in solo queue. And the best part is, if you trade, you win because if you lose your HP and they lose their HP, you can run to the bush, stand there and dance, feed your cats, go to the restroom, get some water, remember, stay hydrated, and then you can move out of the bush because you're full HP, because of the passive. And the ultimate is key because it's a funny button, it does 150 true damage plus 20% missing health at level 6, which is basically QE with Berserker's Greaves and R to kill anyone. Oh yeah, don't forget Stridebreaker, I think I mentioned that, but I couldn't remember, you know, everyone builds it, but you know, sometimes it's hard to keep track of these things. And with that, we should hop into the jungle. Now junglers, we ignore top lane because these champions exist, and if they're against you and they have 2 or 3 kills, you're just gonna get 2v1, so there's no point going up there. However, what we've had a lot of this year in the past 12 months or so, a lot of farming, a lot of scaling, a lot of objective control. However, things are shifting just a little bit, and in solo queue, sometimes AFK farming isn't the best strategy. Now, Hecarim and Udyr are still the go-to super speed, super tank, farm faster than anyone else, rotate faster than anyone else, and the thing is because they're building chem tank and becoming so ridiculously tanky and doing so much damage, There's literally nothing you can do about them. However, worth noting, both of these champions will be receiving nerfs in 11.7. As this video will go live during that phase, I definitely think Udyr will be hit a little harder. Hecarim can always default to Divine Sundra or the reworked Trinity Force, where these are really your go-to junglers, purely because you can skirmish with melees, you can one-shot squishies, you cannot be kited because of phase rush, because of your movement speed in the kit, and because you simply cannot be killed. I honestly wish there was more nuance to it, but there isn't. And that's why I'm gonna slap in Shaco in this position. Since his buffs, to his clear and the nerf to the AP Shaco support, he was already strong, just people refuse to admit it. Now he's very strong. And the reason why he's in a solo carry video is because he really relies on no one. You rely on your own pathing, your own mind games, your own cheese, and understanding what the enemy jungler wants to do, cutting them off from that goal, and then making sure enemy laners are saying jungle diff in all chat by minute 3. The fact that you can go AP or AD provides a massive amount of diversity in your itemization, but the main thing is that Q deceive. It's invisible. They don't know where you're going to be. You get behind them, you've got a Jack-in-the-Box fear, you've got a 2-shift poison, and if that wasn't enough, you can make 2 Shakos with your ultimate. Map control, cheese, if you are a pathing savant and you enable this champion properly, really is a great way to solo carry, contain objectives, and make sure AD carries are swearing your name in their nightmares. And as Udyr and Hecarim are basically one champion at this point, Kha'Zix is going to be thrown here as the third. Remember, assassins who path well, understand their matchups, and know how to teamfight are some of the most feared things in the game. Yes, you can farm a little bit longer, you don't have to AFK gank, but if you can invade enemy junglers and one-shot them with your isolation damage, we do actually have a 5 tips Kha'Zix video here on the Mobalytics channel if you are looking to dominate your opponents in the most inappropriate ways. Just remember, you've got Q evolve, W evolve, as well as the Duskblade itemization, which give you a pseudo R evolve because your passive is reset every time you get a kill. That's why Dark Harvest and Snowballing are so crucial. And with that isolation damage on the Q, you increase in range, the W slow 90% on isolated targets. There's really no way to stop this champion once you start snowballing, and hence why it's one of the best solo carry junglers. And next up we have mid lane, and I think we have to start with Yone because it's a better and easier Yasuo, apologies in advance, but it's just so difficult to itemize against him because of the passive AP damage is up every second auto attack. It's easy to CS with the Q, insanely good versus melees due to the W doing percentage max health damage, and shielding him, has a double crit passive like his brother, and if he gets slightly ahead the lane is over because he can build up his Q uncontested and then E over an entire lane, which feels like half the map, throw out a Q, throw out an auto attack, throw out a Q, throw out an auto attack, maybe a W, and you die. And there's true damage when he goes back with his E. So even if you perma lose lane on the champion, if you manage to get to the 2 items through smart map movements, good split pushes, good rotations, you can simply ER into the enemy carry, 1v1 them, and then just one-shot the backline with Shield Bow and Infinity Edge, and that also gives you survivability, so basically, he is simply the ultimate quintessential solo carry mid laner for Season 11. And if that wasn't enough to give you a headache thinking about the pain you'd have to face against a good Yone, Fizz also still is really good. There is nothing more slippery, there's nothing more annoying to gank as a jungler, there's nothing more difficult to actually lock down and contain than this champion. You will almost always guarantee 1 kill with your full combo and that ultimate, but you can clean up even more and waste a lot of time and escape with your EQ and Zhonya's. Now I play a lot of Zyra, so if I get hit by that R or I get remotely too close to this fish thing, there's just literally nothing you can do. Q is targeted, I can't avoid the Q damage, and if I think I can disengage, he has the Trickster button. Absolutely tilting. Very nice to carry though if that's what you're looking for. Now for the next champion, there's a lot of things you can possibly go. I think it's really worth noting that Zed still has that star and carry potential, Katarina still always will pop off in solo queue, and if you are from Deutschland, you're probably playing Kassadin. But I want to throw in Anivia into this mix. You might not think, hey, this is a classic solo carry champion. It isn't, but her win rate is high, her play rate is a little lower, and she can really just absolutely relax and scale in the lane. She has a nice stun, a wall of denial, and an ult that basically means, hey, you want to take my tower? No, because I can wave clear for 3,000 years. And I know people want to say something, hey, Vrakayu plays Ornn and Volibear and Anivia's the sister. No, I actually really hate the champion. I just feel it's so irritating to face, and she just denies a lot of what people want to do. If you can really relax and understand the wave states, you can understand the map, you get your blues, you build properly, this is one of the best scaling mid laners that you can play outside of Kassadin if you know how to relax and use it properly. It's also because so many other selections for solo carry champions in mid lane tend to be assassins, it's nice to bring something a little different that's actually been performing insanely well. Alright, let's talk about ADC. First up, we have Kai'Sa. Now Kai'Sa has been the topic of conversation this season. Very strong, has been nerfed twice. But the reason she's always so good is because the ISO Q still does a lot of damage, by the way, and even though her range can be abused in laning phase, as long as you are able to navigate the lane matchups and understand exactly where your power curve is in relation to the enemy ADC, Kai'Sa provides something that many others do not. Jinx, you might say, is a great solo carry ADC. No, because she is immobile. She is doing very well, no doubt, but Kai'Sa provides you the ability to outplay the enemy, provides you the security of, hey, when you have no peel, I can actually take matters into my own hand. You can reposition, you've got the burst of your passive, you have an attack speed steroid, you can go invisible, you have a long range W. She has everything in her kit to survive by herself and actually be able to play the game. And this is important in solo queue because sometimes ADCs just don't get to. I mean, you can go back and look at the Kha'Zix and the Shaco discussion. What is our goal? To annihilate ADCs. And if you're a Kai'Sa, you actually might have something to say about that. And now I mentioned Jinx and being immobile. So why did we select Jhin for the next slot? Purely because Jhin has range, Jhin has a root, Jhin has a movement speed passive, Jhin has a really safe laning phase, Jhin is an ultimate that is just absolutely glorious to use and has some of the best skins in the game. Seriously, this is pinnacle champion design, and usually champions that are really well designed make great solo carry champions in their roles for many years. But as we said, he has no dashes. However, Gale Force is now an item. Combine that with his movement speed passive and the swifties he likes to run, a Jhin who gets ahead with that fourth shot is almost impossible to actually lane against. And honestly, if you play squishy champions and you go against a fed Jhin, it feels like he's the assassin now. Finally, we have Vayne. The nice thing about playing Vayne as a solo carry ADC in Season 11 is that you can also afford to take her top lane and tilt the enemy melees. Now, since Stridebreaker is a thing, it's not always exactly as good as it sounds, but at least we have possibilities. Most importantly, like Kai'Sa, even though your range can be abused in laning phase, the fact that you are self-sufficient and that W is kind of disgusting against HP stackers like Darius's and tanks, not only are you able to peel yourself, reposition, and kite, you will also be doing true damage to tanky targets and shredding up to 14% of their max HP. And this is all made even more possible by the fact that your tumble allows repositioning. Your condemn gives hard CC, it also gives knockback disengage, and then you can reposition with the camouflage from your ultimate. Everything you need to flourish, make a montage, survive, and solo carry your games. Finally, we have support, and Bard has to be first. One of the best one-trickable supports you can ever play. The combination of your roaming with Meeps and the tunnel, plus a lot of damage while still building tanky, plus a stun on the Q, you don't really have to worry about those expensive damage items. You can catch people from miles away with your ultimate, stun them for free kills, you can get from one side of the map to the other. You also enable some amazing ganking angles for your junglers, which is great because sometimes junglers couldn't find the keyhole in a door and so they need that little extra help. You provide heal and lane, you provide disengage for your team, and you're one of the only champions that can really deny a herald. And trust me, as a jungler also, there's nothing more painful than trying to sneak away the last two plates and then the Bard ult comes flying and he says, "Dude." Next up, I have to put Thresh. I was gonna put Blitzcrank and it was suggested we do so, but Thresh has just been so broken for so long. Really under the radar is kind of broken though. You go to some Korean supports, what's the best one? Thresh. The hook is called Death Sentence, right? And that's because it literally is. If he hits it, he's coming towards you, he's gonna flay you, and if his ult's up, he's gonna use that also, but you're already dead halfway through this process. That, and he has the W, again enabling junglers for great ganks, and the shield is getting nerfed. It's a very strong shield, but it's still going to be useful, and he can still nullify bad plays by his team by just chucking it out, walking away, and bringing them to safety. One of the best ways for you from support to make sure you're hitting the right targets, saving your ADC from themselves, and just being all-round disruptive in a way that no other support really can be. Now usually we'd like to put a damage support here, something magey, you know, hey look, I'm doing damage, I'm Zyra, I'm Brand. They just aren't really performing as well this season. I'm a Zyra main, so I know. But Lulu. Yeah, Lulu. I have words for Lulu, but I cannot put them in a video and keep it monetized. The thing is, you reverse a bunch of assassins? No, I press a button and now you're just a little hamster. Hey look, my ADC's about to die to the Rengar, I'm just gonna make them huge, and now they can never die. Or how about, hey, there's a Darius on my team and my ADC's useless, I'm gonna rotate and roam top lane, and then just ult the Darius and just watch as he twirly whirlies my way to some free LP. That and the fact that Glitter Lance actually does a decent amount of damage, slows, and that whimsy button that really frustrates all assassins in the game. Yeah, if you use that on your teammate or your Kindred or Nunu, suddenly they're going Mark 500 and getting bonus attack speed. So if you need to enable your team, you can do it. If you need to save them from yourselves, you can shield them and ult them. And basically you have everything you need in a kit to frustrate the enemy, enable your team, and control the game flow as long as you understand team fighting, target selection, and win condition. And there you have it. I was instructed to make this 10 minutes, but apparently it's 15. I did my best. It's just a lot to get through to talk about the current meta. Looking forward to all the Mobalytics videos coming very soon, so please do like, share, and comment if you enjoyed and learned something in this video. I have been your host for Caillou. You can find me on my YouTube channel for all your jungle goodness. Subscribe to Mobalytics for all that juicy fresh content coming very soon. And as always, I will see you all in the next video.